Hello and welcome to Guitar 6 Steps. In this quick video we're trying to achieve the dreaded bar chord. Don't need to be so dreaded, it just takes a bit of technique, so I'm just going to go through that with you now, and if you just persevere you'll have another guitar skill in your arsenal which just changes your guitar playing, and it brings you into another sphere, onwards and upwards. Okay, so this is a bar chord, or a grand bar, some people would call it. In this instance, in the first fret, it is an F chord. Okay, now just a quick, tiny bit of theory. What we're going to look at, we're going to start with, it's an E bass chord. So if we play a standard E, and then substitute the first finger with the second finger and so on, second, third, fourth, so you have this shape here. It's what I call the movable E. So what you're in fact doing when you're playing a bar chord, it's a bit like our old friend the capo. So if we put a capo on the first fret and we played E, we would actually be playing an F chord. So instead of the capo there, we would have our finger there, and so we can move it around. But that's effectively what happens when you put a capo on. You raise, each fret raises up, it's a half step or a semitone. Okay, so that's theory. Theory is all well and good, but what we really want to do is to be able to play first. Okay, so here is an E chord, the movable E. I'm going to move in here, and basically what you're trying to achieve is this gap in your finger. This is the secret. Well, not so much, it won't be a secret now, but this is how to achieve your bar chord. So obviously this E chord would move to the second fret. You're trying to achieve this. So the first thing is to develop this stretch. So what I like to teach my students to do is to get this first finger where it can move independently from the rest of the shape. Now bear in mind, just to show you the back here, this is the thumb position, about halfway down the neck, you know, and you get a big drop in your wrist. So you have this big swan's neck wrist, so this enables you, as opposed to a grip like this where you can't move your fingers, you can reach. Okay. Again, technique. Look at the classical players. They sit, they look real as if they're very posed, but they have this tremendous reach, all because of this sort of hold. Okay, so we have this part up to the second fret, and what I want you to touch is your first, while keeping that shape like this, see if you can touch your first finger off the very corner of the nut. The nut is this part here of the guitar, which denotes the start of the first fret. So touch it off there. Now sometimes that can be difficult, but the stretch, if you want to imagine what the stretch is like, if you placed your plectrum in between your finger like that, that's the sort of gap you want to create, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. So keep on persevering with this. Then the next step is try and lay your finger across the nut. So once you do that, your finger is truly on its side, and that's where you want to be. You want your finger to be on its side. Another thing of note should be slightly curved, doesn't have to be poker straight. Excuse me. And also this from here, the second joint in your finger to the fingertip, is the area that you want to go on the guitar. Okay, so most people, if they have very long fingers, it's from here to here. The same with your legs. It's usually your thighs that are long, and most people are the same from their knee down to their feet. So we're looking for this area. Okay, and I'll stop talking in a minute now. We're going to just go over this again and again. And what you want to do is lie it across there and then pull it down without changing the shape on its side where you shouldn't see your fingernail from behind, and just sort of almost hide the fret bar. Okay? So, to recap, try this again. Get your E shape, move it to the 2nd fret, reach up here to develop that stretch, move it round even so that this doesn't follow. You don't want these following like that and all collapsing. And you don't need brute strength. Keep your shoulder out of it. Really only from this point here. You don't need your shoulder sort of all like stretching and trying to like crush the guitar. It's not a strength position. Okay, touch here, develop the stretch. Here's the stretch. Get used to the stretch. Takes a little while. Could take like a couple of like days doing it. Stretch it across. Pull it down on its side. Now the other next thing to do is how do you remember where the shape is and this. So these are the on-offs which I've shown many times before. Like go for a simple one of 2. So try and get it with the shape. Even if you haven't got the sound yet, try this. Lift up the shape in completion. Don't melt it away. Leave it frozen. And your body picks up on that and remembers the shape. You can just find the shape straight away. That's how the body works. Remembers the shape. If you do it wrong, you'll be really good at doing it wrong. So, do it right. Okay. So when you get the bars, if you get that far, how do you get to moving them? Well, what I do is I do a moving on-off. So I do on, then lift the shape, onto the 3rd fret, which in this case is a G, and to A, it's the 5th fret. You can move right up to the 7th fret, which is a B. Now that's a good start in sort of learning the bar chords. Get to know the 1, 3, 5 and 7. You can figure out all the others, they're flats and sharps, but you don't need to know the theory to begin with. It's very interesting once you get the chord, but so many songs have A minor and F. Hurricane Bob Dylan, for instance, but there's a lot of them. Okay, but you need the full F because with this open F, you don't have the bass notes. So it depends on the song that you're playing. In this case, you would need the bass notes. Okay, so just recapping that one more time. Get your E chord, movable E. Move it up to the 2nd fret, keep that gap in your hand, thumb behind, sort of halfway up the neck. Reach here. Now this, you'll drop this after a while once you've developed the stretch. Touch the corner, bring your hand around, lie across the nut, slide up, keep the pressure on, just a slight pressure, and up against the fret. And then practice your on-offs, your hand will remember the shape. So I hope you have a good time learning that, particularly the times we're in at the moment. You can't say you haven't got the time. Okay, best of luck with that.